Heather, you definitely have mic duties. Go for it.
I've been in radio before.
Yeah, I can tell. Your secret talents. Yeah. You're no longer
not
secret.
so secret anymore.
I have a new MC.
Is it that time?
It is that time.
All right.
Morning, welcome.
Good morning.
This is the BADCamp retrospective discussion, question, answer, everything that you could possibly want to know about the organization of BADCamp. Do you want to volunteer next year?
We actually had one person that came and was like, this needs to change, this needs to change. And we were like, oh, like you're coming to our meeting. And that was Susan, and
Yeah.
she's been fantastic.
She has been.
Hello, team. Would you guys want to do a walk around the circle?
You should start.
Okay, so my name's Anne. I've been coming to BADCamp. This is my 6th BADCamp in a row. I'm my 5th one helping organizing. And I got on the ladder by helping out originally when Stephanie Cannon was running it. And I just, one thing we've learned at BADCamp, in order to help out, it's really hard to start at the top. So we need to get people on the ladder and get them going and getting moving. And then they can really climb the ladder very quickly to help out. And so I started with helping Matt Cheney with sponsorship emails, and then I ended up taking on more sponsorship, and then I ended up taking over kind of master of all things, which mostly meant coaching people. Hello, can you help with that? And then this year, I mean, Jen was a huge part of it for such a long time, and then so was Kate, and so this is my first year doing venues and friends. So, yes.
I'm Heather Rodriguez. This is my first year being a organizer at BADCamp. Last year I was here and I ran into Bob at the store, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is fun, so I'll hang out at the store for a while. And then it just, I think David was like, well, do you want to help organize BADCamp? And I was like, sure, this is fun, so I'll do it next time. And then I moved to the Bay Area, and this year have been trying to just get a handle on all of the things involved, and I took on the front end summit this year. It had kind of fallen into decay, so I took it on this year, and it was a pretty awesome, successful event, and I'm super proud of it. And then I kind of just took on the volunteering and trying to coordinate that a couple of days ago, so yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
I'm Jen. I've been doing BADCamp for 10 BADCamps. The first year I got into it because I had a truck and somebody needed to do a crossbow run, and I was like, sure, I can help with that. And then I got to the camp and they were like, could you sit at the registration desk? And I was like, sure. And that was kind of all that was required in running a camp. So I was like, hooray, I helped run a camp. But then the next year it continued to get larger and more complicated and more things. And I stayed involved, and somehow when Tao stepped down, I inherited everything. I worked at Chapter 3. Everyone in Chapter 3 got super involved and contributed, which was fantastic. And when I left Chapter 3, a whole bunch of other people from the community helped step up to support it too. So it's no longer like Chapter 3 camp. It's now every company in the Bay Area that's involved in Drupal had some involvement around the camp, which feels amazing. It feels like the Drupal community should work. And now that I am less involved with Drupal, I'm going to be less involved in BADCamp. And fortunately, they're a fantastic team of amazing people who help make this happen every year. And I'm so thrilled that you guys do such a good job.
This was a wonderful year because Jen did which is a milestone. She just did only her things.
Yes.
Right. She only did backdrop stuff.
I even
Just great.
I even
We did a lot of
I even
backups.
I even missed meetings, and
Yes.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this.
We did make her shipping and receiving though, because she has a garage.
And geographically closest to the venue, it does make the most sense.
So we literally lined her walls with boxes of goodies and t-shirts.
Yes.
And that was wonderful because Calo only had so much space.
Yeah.
So my name is Amy Diamond, and I'm with 42. And before Book 42 was created, I was actually going to BADCamps for about 8 years now. And thank you for organizing those early ones. And it's been great as far as talking about volunteering on the layout ladder. We were actively always presenting as much as possible. So our volunteerism as individuals, Kristen, Cole, and I, were doing we're going to do sessions, and then we always did training, and then it was like, okay, we'll help out more. Let's get more active on the planning you were getting really busy, and it was just like, what's going to happen? And like everything was moving around. It's like, okay, BADCamp needs help. So we jumped in, and then the first year, this is the second big year. So the first year I organized all the trainings, and we did that again this year. And we did a lot of design production. I was going to let Genevieve talk about that. But yeah, we have 3 people on Hook 42 that worked hard on the project, and Hook 42 like contributes their time in their work hours to do BADCamp. And so that was a super big deal. It's like I'm a volunteer, but the rest of the people on the team
is volunteer.
Yeah, and my cousin is like a volunteer / employee. So, but it's been super helpful, and we want to make sure that we're a little bit more involved next year on other things. Like we did volunteer management last year, but Patrick's no longer with us. That's why there was a big gap in the volunteers.
Yeah.
And
This is what we learned is that we need to build good redundancy, and because people, when life happens, and sometimes people move.
Like,
hey, we really need to do this, and figure out how to get that message out. People are there to help. We just have to figure it out.
right, and people are really willing to help, which is nice. And then it was tough this year though, because I had a baby in the middle of all of this. But I want to just say how wonderful the BADCamp family is, and everybody's supportive, and everybody's happy, and it's just glorious to be able to bring the baby to the meetings. You guys are okay with it. It's like, but it's really sweet, and thank you. No, he actually came with his Powered by Drupal shirt. He was sporting the BADCamp onesie, like John's daughter's having with that.
I'm Genevieve. I work for her. Last year I did like a bit of stuff back in, but this year basically I took on a lot more things, did lots of design, helped Amy with the training stuff because she was really having a baby and all that. That's basically it.
I want to say that she made that rocket ship is super fast and fun, and the stars. I'm super
It's a little campy, but I'm quite happy with all of
We also
it.
have
It's a
thousands
huge
of stickers lost.
Yeah.
What?
We have thousands of stickers that got lost.
She made awesome stuff.
Oh yeah, I was wondering where the sticker.
We have no idea.
No clue where this
Can we just do like an internal run? Because I don't even have one of
Oh,
those
no, I
stickers.
find them.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah, it's gonna be after
We'll
that.
find them.
Well, yeah, you can have
I
a
hope you have one or two of one.
Yeah, because I lost like my laptop cover got. Yeah, I have to. It's a fresh laptop cover because it got replaced. I need to put more stickers on it. I left.
Yeah, and working with Darlene to figure out all the printing stuff because last year I helped Kate like this much. This year there was no Kate. So
Yeah, so we donate our shop's time and have a couple people help out and stuff. So we have one of our designers help schedule all the newsletters, and then Darlene's bought all the print stuff and organized all that. So she worked part-time on BADCamp for like 20 hours a week for the last 6 weeks. So if you see Darlene, she likes hobbies.
I mean, I think it's super awesome, and I just want to acknowledge Anne and Amy because, like, not only are they volunteering, but they're like they're making it part of their business. Like, you know, they're like actively not getting billable hours and putting people on BADCamp, and that's a really huge deal.
I feel like it's fun.
Okay.
John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is John Peck. I work at Four Kitchens. I've been involved in BADCamp. I think I've been attending for 4 or 5 years. Been volunteering for 3. Worked on the website last year and this year. Kind of some of it's facilitation, some of it is development. And then also just kind of expanding the phone, just kind of like looking around and like what needs to get done and just taking care of things. Like I have a lot of work responsibilities, have a lot of personal responsibilities, as do we all. And so it's like, and also having kind of a lack of physical proximity, I didn't want to take on too many responsibilities, but at the same time, it's like if something just wasn't getting done, it's like, well, like people come, people go, and you just gotta keep the show moving. So it's like sometimes it's like it means being a secretary, sometimes it means like editing an email, sometimes it means like updating reviews last minute or what have you. It's in general, like, it's just fun participating and helping build something. One of the exciting pieces is just being able to work with such a diverse group of volunteers and trusting one another and delegating responsibilities. And also, like, catching each other and saying, like, hey, have you taken care of X and Y, Z, or and getting it back, saying, oh yeah, you did that, you think it's great. Well, actually, here's things that you didn't improve. And it's like we keep each other honest, which is nice.
And it's like the relationships aren't just, professional, like, oh, we're like helping each other organize, but like John and I watch Game of Thrones together like almost every Saturday, and Jen.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry.
I was there at least once.
Yeah.
I was going to say Dogs of Thrones has happened several times.
Yeah, we have Doggies of Thrones, but so it's like, that's been really helpful for me too, because I just moved to the Bay Area, so, now BADCamp is like my professional thing, but it's also my personal thing too, so.
It's different.
Yeah, we are really good friends, and we have meetings, and then after the meetings, we'll go out to dinner, the bar, playing board games or whatever, so there's a lot of, like, it's not just work, we like doing this.
But sometimes we can be serious.
Well,
Newsletters for all.
I'm not sure how serious the
But
newsletters are.
coming in from the outside, that actually, we don't have that relationship as much. And part of it.
Yeah.
But we also, but I just want to say, we don't go to the office very often because but we are still friends. That's what I was going to say. Just because we're not there, like the whole group is super friendly and inviting. And I want to just say, a lot of
They gave
times.
us beer and popcorn when we did show up.
I know. So I just want to say to everybody that wants to actually volunteer and we're watching the video and everything, the team is incredibly inviting to anybody, and it's amazing. And I just wanted to say, even though you don't go to game night, it's still a super friendly group. It's really inclusive, and because some people have imposter syndrome, like your presentation last year, and they get afraid to want to join. But no, it's a very open, friendly group of people.
And we use Zoom because even when people are close together, sometimes obligations. So we highly encourage if you are planning a camp, to find a tool. We like Zoom because it's really easy to plug and play and share screens.
Yeah, you can
see video.
You do a Brady Bunch view and basically see everybody at the same time. It's very good for it's cross-platform. You can share screens and do everything. The client is very lightweight. It's not going to solve shit on your computer.
It works on Linux.
Yeah.
That was that's our test.
We use the paid version. We found it was very disruptive to every meeting we start.
Oh my gosh. I was like, wait,
But
we
for
can find
$9 a month, it was like a BADCamp expense that we figured it was a healthy expense, allows us to collaborate.
Yeah.
Alright, so
It was their station with the microphone.
yeah.
Well, I also wanted to shout out to Last Call Media, who did most of the front end of the site, and they've put an incredible amount of work in. Speaking of donating time, and actually probably across the project, almost 10 people in that organization in one form or another, as a project manager, developer, engineer, have touched the site, and it shows. It works really, really well. I'm very happy with the results this year.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly call out Calamuna because the Cala office has been. Yeah. Well, Justin's here.
It's Justin.
But Justin isn't in the office. But Andrew Malice, every time we come to Calamuna, we come there so often. Always has beer and snacks and just so friendly.
And he stays there and has to close up shop.
Yeah.
So
And we really try to be mindful to clean up, but sometimes we get excited and we leave our popcorn bowls and our beer bottles, and he doesn't think, he just okay.
Yeah.
There might be Ken in the morning cursing us. I don't know.
Well,
they're very generous with their
yeah.
space.
And it's really helpful, so if you're organizing camp, to have a central place that's consistent, because you don't have to think about where you're going. You don't have to say okay. And the office already has things set up, the AV equipment and such.
Well, and similar to Heather, I'm relatively new to the Bay Area. I've been living here. I moved here about 3-4 years ago, and it's hard to get started in a new city. And actually, BADCamp has been part of my social experiences, especially working from home. I work remotely at 4 kitchens. I don't get to see a lot of adults. it's like it's one thing to see someone like on a screen, but then it's like I just like have like a couple of ephemeral experiences. So it's like actually like going out and physically going somewhere and just being with a group of people who are interesting, you know, collaborating on something, and then having time to just relax and just talk about everything. It's refreshing, and just I like being around good humans.
What about Bob?
Speaking of good humans.
Excellent humans.
My name's Bob Gilletta. This is my 6th or 7th BADCamp. People said, what do you want to do? And I do miscellaneous. So I'm around a lot of experts in particular areas, but I have a broad background, and there's always weird things that come up that don't fit in, and everybody has
Bob,
to
we
fit
need fans. Bob.
And I was one of those ones where life happened to this year. We started this year's BADCamp about what, 2 weeks? 2-3 weeks?
Oh, yeah, it was like November, and
Yeah, we had our
very
first
shortly
meeting.
afterwards.
Yeah.
we started early this year.
Yeah, we usually
On
plan for
purpose,
9
though.
months. We plan for 11 months.
And so I was in there, and then some things happened that I was involved in, and it was interesting. It was really nice when I finally surfaced again and came back in, and it was, family said, where the hell you been? Get to work.
No, it was, where the hell you been? We missed you.
Yes,
Where-
oh, yes. I forgot that.
Well, we left messages. Bob had family stuff and just kind of went dark, and we were really worried
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, calling him, emailing him, voicemailing him.
I have to resonate. That's on the meeting. We're like, has everybody?
We had an
got the
agenda
Bob?
item. Where's Bob?
Like, who has his number? We find a guest, and we're very so happy
Yeah,
to see
note to
that.
self, social skills. I mean,
Yeah.
But Bob was a miracle worker with like getting the van and helping
Yeah.
friends and
Internet,
internet. You know, there's so many
bagels.
Bagels.
The first year when I had bagels, we forgot. He's like, what can I do? And I'm like, we forgot
And
bagels.
not
He's
everything,
like, I'm on it.
not everything works out right, because we had a billing address in San Francisco, because you ordered from there, and I got a phone call last year saying, okay, where are you?
Bagels are
What do you mean? I said, we're here, there's nobody answering the door. I said, what door? I said, well, they were delivering to the office in San Francisco. I said, the conference is in Berkeley. Ah! So anyway, things happen, but it's been fun to work on. I've learned a lot, and able to offer some stuff on the technical side. It's a great trade-off, and it's great to find a community.
Yeah, and I want to just call out that Bob is really patient and persistent doing the training cancellations and refunds and managing a lot of that. Like last year, you were amazing with it, and we're doing that this year. And I'm writing all the tools next year for this because this is a pain in the ass. But you were so patient and so sweet and helpful to everybody. I just want to really resonate that even at the 11th hour and being tired, you're just really wonderful to people and getting good service to all the people that come. So,
Next.
thank you. Next, sorry.
So I'm not sure Kevin's like part of the BADCamp team officially, but I feel like
Officially,
you're
he is
part of the
officially, yeah,
BADCamp
he's
team.
part of the team.
Yeah,
Because he does all
I'm in the
the
Slack
meetings.
channel. So, so I'm Kevin. I'm from Chicago. I help plan MidCamp, but I also do, as many of you know, the session recordings. So, 3 years ago, I had a kit. I kind of had started the kits, and so I brought some with just to show them off, and failed miserably at recording anything.
I got at least one.
Like 3.
Yeah.
The very
It's called
well,
getting on the
That's
ladder,
good.
though.
yeah, and so
3 is better than 0.
that's what everybody was telling me, and I felt terrible. But it was whatever. So it became more official last year, and I'm back again this year. And it's a great camp. It's a lot of walking. I had 28,000 steps yesterday.
Need to get you a Segway.
We actually had that Slack comment. It's volunteers should have bikes.
But at least
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
At least there's a break between sessions this year. Last year there was no time between sessions. They were back to back. I'm like, you guys are kidding.
Yeah, that
So-
was not.
Yeah. No, it was.
No, we
they were-
went through this year, and Justin and I were Justin's like, okay, Because we actually wrote a retrospective because I feel like we do these things and then we don't work on it for a couple months and then we go back and forget what was the pain points. So we have a retrospective in like 2 weeks, then we go through all the things that were painful. Then we create a Google Doc and then it's an agenda item. Okay, let's all stop and read the retro notes. And one of them was breaks between sessions. It was literally like reading the retro notes and Jess and I were like, oh, breaks. Right? So you guys have any feedback?
Yeah, there's a retro for this year. It's on the GitHub page for the website. It's wiki.
Oh, is the retro's already up there? Oh, good, because I was going to type it. Oh, okay. I
It's
haven't
pinned.
seen it,
I was
yeah.
like, I saw the bike.
So, yeah, the survey.
We will send out a survey.
Do you want to, Justin, you want to go?
Justin, I did some scheduling, fully remote. So I was just zooming in and then slacking and talking to people. Yeah.
Oh, that's so underplaying your
I know.
role.
Yeah.
This dude says what he's going to do and he does it. And that's a big thing with volunteers because sometimes it's very challenging. People sign up for stuff but they maybe have overcommitted and they didn't realize it. And so sometimes they say something and sometimes they don't. And this is where the redundancy factor. This man says what he's going to do. He does it.
And
all the time.
like doing the schedule is
That's
not
so
doing
awful.
the schedule.
No.
Like
No,
that is
he
a
did
hard,
the schedule.
horrible, hard problem to solve with as many sessions that we have at the same
That's
time in
true. Well,
different
Texas
tracks with
counts,
different
so.
people. But like that's no small feat. Just being like, oh, do the schedule. But no, that's not what we did.
No.
Well,
And actually,
there was a system to it too. I mean, it was it's not just like placing things and like dealing with people who can't come on Saturday or Sunday or vice versa. But you were also ensuring that there was a diversity of tracks and making sure that there was also diversity in tracks in rooms, so you weren't always in the same room. It's like forcing people to walk back and forth, and that was actually part of our
Yeah,
having
so
those
people
gaps.
can meet each other and walk back and forth, so they can walk between sessions.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right,
Yeah,
and-
he did a great job at that. What was wonderful is he did the first swag at it, but not even swag. It was like almost like 99%.
Right, yeah.
It was like so dialed, and it was like, damn, that's good. And thank you for doing that because it was just helped. Everybody was so busy because we had a less amount of volunteers this year.
yeah.
So everybody picked up a lot more, and and some people were like, Heather, your first time this year, and you're like, you didn't even peripherally see it happen last year, so you're like, oh, just tell me what we're doing, but you just jumped in and like did it, and that was awesome.
Yeah, and also, like when we did session selection, it was very interesting because like you have so many strong personalities in the room that sometimes it's really hard to stay focused. But Justin's like, all right, guys, okay, come on, let's focus, let's get through this. We want to get through these many like sessions, and like I feel like you were just so good at wrangling people together because sometimes we're just we're like
We're friends.
yeah exactly.
And we did this all from like a Zoom meeting. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't even in the
Right.
room.
Do you guys want to know how our session selection process goes? We've got a nod. Okay, so last year, you guys might have done it differently the year before, but last year.
Differently every year.
No, because last
For the last 2
year.
years, we've done it in a very similar way, which
Because
is
I put it
inspired.
together.
Yeah, it's basically
Yeah.
the way that we've been doing it for DrupalCon.
Right, and
Which-
we had talked about that, and we basically got all the sessions in a spreadsheet, and we on the team vote, are you going to have that in or not, and you abstain if you're like my session, or for us, I have to abstain from the whole company because it's like, oh, of course I want everybody in there, but no, we just hands off, and we each have a column, and then we just total it up, and then we take a. We did
Last year we
those.
did. This year we didn't, and actually I think we should go back to that because
so, too.
it's
No, we
website
did use
votes
website
are
votes.
it's
We use website votes.
well
We did both. We used those as an informed.
not this year.
This is how we go into work.
This is how we do it
So-
differently every year.
Yeah, well, it was
We did
I
both
can
all the
give-
meetings.
I could give you the process. So, firstly, somebody has to act like Anne Stefanik. That's the main thing. That's driving conversation towards actually getting people to vote, making sure that everyone has put in their input to a spreadsheet. Secondly, we take those votes and we stack them. So the sessions that had the most votes we're all starting to talk about. We all have the ability to veto it. or to boost it, and then afterwards there might be a little bit more voting as people start to understand what the sessions are about, as well as what the overall camp goals. So once we voted as a corporation, if you will, about what sessions we really wanted to see, then once again we reprioritize those, and then we look at how many sessions were submitted in each track. And then we break down the sessions that we select based on how many submissions were in each track, and then kind of bend a little bit based on the things that we really feel like we have to see. So this year the conversation was around votes first, not from the website, but from the internal. Then while we were doing scheduling, we looked at votes on the website and internal. That's how I picked the rooms that they went into. The higher the votes on the website, the higher the votes internally. Those got put in the bigger rooms. And then after registration was open 2 days ago, John Peck and I looked at the schedule, knowing that there was some rooms that were overbooked with interest or underbooked with interest, and then rearranged the schedule in the same time slots so it wasn't too disorienting for speakers, but tried to make sure that there was not going to be 60 people in a 20-person room.
Yeah,
Right.
which and that was happening, and because we've been to events. Actually, DrupalCon New Orleans most recently had a number of kind of like,
Because it was pouring full.
yeah, like some rooms were empty, some rooms were full, and it's like we were keenly aware of that. And so by having that the add to my schedule feature, not only does it help people self-organize, it also gives us the feedback of interest, so we can make those kind of like
And
last
this is why
minute
we don't
decisions.
print schedules. Right?
Exactly.
We don't print any schedules. We used to make a little fancy booklet that you could read upside down, and then we printed the handout, like, because you have to do all this like a day or two before the latest with the printout, like an 8 by 11, and then we still switched. So we
I would
just
say
said-
there's some infrastructure that really helps this, and the first one was being able to vote internally, so a spreadsheet. The second one was being able to vote on the website or have people register for the sessions on the website. The third was having a system, in a website itself, whether that's Drupal or whatever, to be able to print out the actual interest as well as like the actual sessions that have been submitted into another spreadsheet to be able to manipulate data. So pulling each of those nodes individually would have been a pain in the ass. Reporting system, so that was built into the website from the get-go, which I hope isn't overlooked, because that was huge in being able to manipulate large amounts of data. I think it would have been easier to have a MailChimp next year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I imagine there was also, I organize camps in the Montreal area, and
Yeah.
we have always some people, after we approve the sessions, that are like, I can't make that time, I have a flight, or I can't go because of some personal event, or so there was, I imagine.
Yeah, it was the
movie
fallout.
groups, There's also that.
There was 2 weeks of valence. There was 7 people total out of the submissions that we had, or the accepted that we had. Some wanted remote, some wanted money, some wanted a different time slot. So I just used a separate communication spreadsheet that John hooked me up with, a printout once again of information that had email address, D.O name, their name, the session title, and so I used that to build the schedule first. And then there was a couple of stragglers that got back to me super late and said, well, a tree literally fell on my house and I think I have pneumonia because I was trying to put up tarps around it. That was 3 days before the fucking schedule went out.
And just to let you guys know, when we're doing schedule planning, that some of the conversations are if it's a no, you have to give a reason. You have to say no. If it's an emphatic yes, you give a reason. But also we choose backup sessions. We have a chunk that's our runners up, if you will. Or also if oh my gosh, if something happens, who do we know that has a wad of sessions in their pocket that will be okay to at the last minute step in if there's a hole. So that's part of the conversation as well.
That session got on schedule.
No, I was going to say this is an annual.
Yeah, but we forgot
We
to put it
forgot
on
to
schedule until someone canceled, and we're like,
Oh yeah, shit, we haven't done this yet.
David's oh yeah, I forgot to add that one.
Do you let your runners up know ahead of time that they are in waitlist position, or?
No, it's because we figure out the fallout pretty quickly.
The initial email.
With the initial emails, and then
And
it's
we
then it's the ocean bucket is after.
We did session submission as early as possible because we're cognizant because a lot of people are traveling to get here. And so, for a while, I mean, we were using Burning Man as like the time to get the website up, and actually this year we tried
That was
to
really bad too, because it's so late.
Yeah, because it's
the
really
product
like,
owner
makes
stepped
the
away.
sponsorship harder and so forth because they want to see that it's like, oh, this is a coherent event, not just like coming soon. Which we had a splash page up pretty early, but
But
that's not the
last year
same.
we didn't get sessions. We didn't have the sessions selected until like 2 days before, and as a result, a whole bunch of people couldn't come, and the sponsor and the tickets were really expensive. So that was like one of our biggest challenges last year.
Yeah.
And so literally we said, okay, we want to have the session schedule because people like to see what they're going to go so they can plan their event. Like, most of us are nerdy and we're super planners, right? Which way we cut it. So they want to know what's going on, when, where, and stuff. So we actually did a reverse milestone where we went and said, okay, if session schedules need to be done and live and posted 3 weeks before the event at the latest, ideally 4, then we need 2 weeks, 3 weeks of like chaos, like figuring it out, and then we need another, another 2 weeks internally to actually, and it was like backwards, and we realized we needed to have sessions actually submitted and cut off what was like September 1st,
Yeah.
or like beginning of it was essentially just after Labor Day. But we'd never done that before. We were kind of like, oh yeah, we kind of need session soon. And so we literally backward milestoned all the way out. And that was like when we were starting to plan our website, we were like, okay, we absolutely have to have session submissions when we go live. We absolutely have to have that. And before we had phased that out later. So it informed our web decisions. It informed, and we were able to, if you're running camp, sponsorship is harder than ever. It's really hard because there's so many camps and like the ROI on camps is not necessarily very business driven. There's a lot of other things. So raising sponsorship dollars, the sooner we can do that, and sponsors won't give you a dime until you have a website. So it's like, okay, so we need a website even earlier. And so it was like this backwards milestone that we're even going to push earlier next year, just so we have a little bit more wiggle room for the in-between.
And I just want to say all the companies that are on the BADCamp committee did actually pay their sponsorship before the website was up because we knew that we needed to, like, we needed to get that new truck, and it was like, it totally helped.
I was like, I called them up and said, are you guys in it to win it? And they're like, totally. I was like, I need it now.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, sure.
That's ever
We
happened
did the
before
same
either.
thing for unspoken reasons.
Because we need deposits. Like we don't run this through the DA. We run this through an LLC, and literally we make $0 on it. Like this year, there will probably be a negative, which means that we don't have a tax burden because if we have a positive, we have to collect our taxes. So all of those things are really important when you're thinking about the fiscal responsibility. And like this year, we were like this close to the edge of everything, and literally it was kind of last minute sponsors that we were like, we're really close to the edge of life right now.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we'll help out, right? It was like a bunch of $350 sponsors. They got a job post, they got the visibility, and we literally closed about like 15 of those at the 11th hour. That allowed us to make sure that everything went really smoothly. I was really worried we wouldn't have enough food on Friday night. I was really worried we wouldn't have enough food on Saturday. I was really, you worry about these things, and you're all like, I'm really worried we don't have enough money. So
thank you, sponsors.
So thank you all sponsors. It's definitely like if you have someone on your committee that's doing sponsorship, I'm happy to talk to them about how to get value for sponsors. Because that's a big question that a lot of camps have, because it's expensive to put this on. Plus it's about $125,000 to put this event on.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, that's how much money Matt and I hustle.
That's like so outrageous.
There's some other parts actually, like going back to like session submission and also setting expectations and getting those early on. We've gotten better about trying to increase the diversity of sessions that are given, and also the diversity of speakers who are coming in, giving people first time speaker opportunities. And some of that is comes in the form of education, kind of setting those expectations up front of what we're looking for in a session description. And having those details as part of the session submission form goes a long way.
I think we should do that better this next year. Because we try to do the DrupalCon one, but if everybody's really busy right at that time, I think that.
No, but is it we had it part of it this year, but like next year, like Justin, you were mentioning like some of the problems that people like saying it's like we want to do it remote, or like actually want to like switch the format, or it was like a few other kind of like weird outliers, and I think it was like just adding just like a couple of little like one-line checkboxes, like I understand that I'm expected to be here in person to do this. Like
I mean, we get for the people on the video, there's some funny, like, oh my gosh, really faces. But seriously, it's a camp that's in person, and you would think that that's just an assumption.
Yeah.
But then there's the age
it's
of
like
VR and meeting, the virtual meeting, so you would think.
Yeah, well, it's just if you set the expectation up front, and there might be a little like pushback. It's like, well, I've been doing this for years now. It's like I can't do it this time. It's like, no, this is it. Another thing that personally drives me up the wall is like with last minute session submission. So if or having a placeholder and then editing the placeholder after the fact. So if you work on the website, turn off edit permission after the session has been submitted, and then re-enable it for accepted sessions. So you don't get like the one character submission that comes in.
At the 11th.
Yeah, although I don't know, like, I mean, I know, so I've been, after the hour, after it's, but I know people who, I've been actually, part of companies where, we submit a session and, like, there's just, like, a typo, or there's, like, somebody's name that needs to be included or fixed or whatever, and, like, so it is important to have an edit, but, like, I was wondering, before we get into, like, super rabbit hole-y of, like, there are people here who came here and, like, haven't necessarily been, like, speaking, like, what do you guys want to get out of this?
And I just added last note to that, that the format, once I saved my post, I think I was probably doing 11th hour, I went back and saw the teaser and saw that the teaser didn't really cut well, so I went back and edited
it's
based
important.
on that, and then the bullet points rendered on the no, they did or didn't. Anyway, the format was inconsistent, so I went back and edited for formatting. I mean, I get what you're saying though with the 11th hour thing.
No, well, I mean, it's more like after session submission.
Yeah,
like,
that's
we
cool.
see this all the time with like DrupalCon as well. Like, there's.
They get into like the 11th hour. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
at
like
least I'm officially
the placeholder sessions, basically. Let's get into it. So, ask questions.
Yeah, because I don't, we're kind of dominating our conversation, but like, so, I mean, you're here, hey.
Hey.
You want to run again?
Well, I want to know what.
You badged us your
Okay, let's talk.
David. Dude, I wanted to see who he is, dude.
Yeah, I'm a Drupal newbie. I'm really like, I know I'm going to be having some dreams that's coming my way. And I went to a beginner training session on Thursday with Mauricio Dinarte, and it was really good for someone that had no idea what to expect. I found that very helpful. Looking through the sessions, there was a lot of intermediate advanced stuff I had no idea about, but I sat in on a few just to try to get some terms here and there, and that worked out too. I think it was well catered to both beginners and the core committers. I did enjoy that, hearing kind of the further down the line what people did, but also just the good amount of beginner info I found really helpful.
And we try to make sure that there's a bunch of beginner sessions to make sure that it's a very inviting for those who've never been.
Yeah, even
that
just
is always the hardest thing because certain communities meet up with a bunch of experts and they like to talk about what they're working on right now, and so you have to do a little recruiting ahead of time to be like, hey, we need beginner sessions, we need second sessions, we need whatever. You've got to pull that out of the community sometimes a little bit more. So.
And even just this being the first time of introduction to an open source community, everyone is so nice, and so, oh yeah, totally, here's an email, here's my card, it's very encouraging as a beginner, so that's good.
That's great.
Thank you for the kind words.
No, I just wanted to thank you, and I just wanted to know how the sausage got made, so that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah.
There's a few lips and beaks in there, but yeah.
Gross.
Exactly.
We were lucky again.
I mean, it's so easy.
Did you take a training session? Who took training here?
I was going to say,
Okay. We've got a lot of folks taking training.
Sort of, I ran a training.
You guys ran trainings. We ran 2 okay, I have sore points in our process that I tried to fix this year, but I was out with a baby for a lot of that time. So I would like to hear if what you liked, disliked, could do better, what type of topics you might want to look at for training of next year, if you guys have any input.
Both of my sessions didn't have agendas, so it was a little too freeform for my kids, but I still got a lot of it.
Oh, no agendas. Interesting.
Which sessions are you doing?
Yeah.
Call them
was
out.
the morning, so that had a nice lecture in the morning, and then there was no like tutorial or exercise to work through. That was the part that was a little missing for me. And then the dive into Ember, and that unfortunately was the day where the internet went down. So I did get a demo and I got a lot out of it, but there was no actual walkthrough kind of thing that I prefer. That just maybe me.
Can we talk after? Would that be great? Thanks. As an organizer, well, you know, I'm going to ask Ryan because you see that.
I know I'm sausage.
Yeah, you know what's in the sausage. So Ryan, how was your sausage?
I did the same training last year, and I was doing training on migration. And the migrate modules were not as stable as they were, and I found that the communication was very well this year. Amy sent out an email the day before at like 10 or 11 a.m., which prompted me to contact the attendees with more details, like the agenda, what we were planning to work on. And I told people to go and download stuff in advance because I've done the training a few times. There's always something that goes wrong, and one of my trainees was like at the same exact training last year, and she said, "Oh, I'm so glad you told us to download everything in advance, you know, not knowing half of the internet would be broken." So that actually worked out really well, and we had worked with Pantheon to make a blog post of how to do the migration just within the Pantheon platform. So I had previously had to do like vagrant boxes and teach people how to install Drupal 8 for the first time, and in this case we just like used Pantheon. Here's the blog post. I had a stock presentation that was the condensed version of this, and we followed that. So the same person had asked me in advance, like, I'm going to be late, and I have a follow-up point to this. I'm going to be late, so can I get the slides? It turns out she was also the volunteer who was to put the coffee and donuts in the room, but she had a conference call booked that morning, so she didn't become aware that she was responsible for that task until later.
Okay.
So she was like, "I'm really sorry," and I'm like, "I don't care." Like Mike Pinello was next door hosting a training, and he came in and said, "I think it all ended up in my room." So we just send people over there, and Mike's the host of the Drupal Easy podcast is a really nice guy. So just go heckle Mike for a few minutes and get some coffee, and that was all like good. And, yeah, so that was all overall really good. I have a couple notes here. That was the one that was really good too. Trainings.
How did you deal with like the last minute people? Something last minute.
Oh, yeah.
We need a system.
Okay, no,
For me,
yes.
it wasn't a big deal at all.
Yeah, no, you didn't get it.
Oh, wow.
No, that was us.
But
No,
I do have sort of a related note though, is that we kind of planned, like I sent out an agenda, I don't know if I sent the agenda, but I put it in a working Google Doc with like an hour by hour, and initially Amy said 8 o'clock because we were far up the campus, and I was like, people are taking their personal development days and they have to still take their kids to school and whatever, so people always end up showing up late.
Let me talk about that. So we, as the trainer organizers, we set up the website at first just to see when the room is open, and then I told the trainers to be like, WTF, give me your start time, and nobody responded. You responded.
You didn't get it?
No, because I asked you directly about the time.
I thought I was like, what the hell, why does it say 8 a.m.? And you were like, oh, that's when the room's available. And I was like, oh, okay.
And then
I don't think I got any email that was like a blast to trainers about
Oh, we
what the
did.
start times are.
We did 2
I
or
sent
3.
them.
Well, let's not
Yeah.
put on the
Okay,
whole.
I also might not. I might not.
No, it's not a whole, but we're just saying
That's a
the
whole.
end result is the
That's a whole.
sore points that we
That's a
got
whole.
was it's hard for people to cancel. And it's hard for us to track the refunds. And the end result is next year we've already been talking about like the email schedule setup. And like we want to write all the emails like next week. So we have a calendar of like the email body says this is where you're going, this is the structure. So like anybody else can actually send these things out to. And the attendee list, we want to just do it earlier because I think that if we enable the trainers with more information about their end users, then you guys can send emails.
So
This is a good set.
that email sat in my inbox, and I totally was like, I need to contact the attendees. I probably have an email I haven't read, so I honestly just looked at it the day before and it was there, so it was good.
I'm not sure I have the same experience because I've been often organizing. I feel like I've left off a lot of the training communication.
No, you shouldn't have unless it was. Well, I'm gonna check, but we'll fix that later.
Can we segue into it?
I'd like to say one thing that if I was not left off of it, I felt like there was a huge hole in telling trainers what was necessary.
Yeah, absolutely.
In
Yeah.
years previously, rather than asking for feedback from trainers, we told them how it was.
Well, I did that last year,
Yeah.
but I was out with baby,
So
and so at the
I think
last
that
minute,
might
I
be-
was like, oh crap,
I
I'm
think
not
that,
gonna get it
and
out.
also there was a lot asked of trainers this year that wasn't like, you need to take attendance. And I know that was a logistical problem for us, but I know that no one did. And so I think just
I did it.
I didn't do it. When I went
Whoosh.
to people should have been checked in. They were like, I went to more classes.
Well,
So
Okay, can we because we have people who are in this room right now who are like actually actively planning other camps, and I really want to know so what project management system do you have? What tools do you have, and what's your process?
We do Trello to do our session selection, Google Hangouts, and Slack. And I'll just leave it at that. So we can
how do you use Trello for session selection?
we import all of the sessions as, of course we do the spreadsheet round like you do, but we usually get just a few more sessions than we have slots available, so we would vote a few out, and then we import everything into Trello as an individual card, and we create columns based on what we think are the tracks, and then we see if the tracks fill out, say building for example. And if we're okay, yeah, this track works and there's enough slots, then we use that. The one hard thing is that you don't have that linear, this one has 7 and this one has 8, you're constantly counting, and we found there's a plugin that we can use to do it. But it's something that everyone can see. If they are just doing it locally, the Trello board will move around if they're not watching the Hangout screen, because some people will go and say, oh, there's a typo, I'm going to edit it here. And then you can also color code things, because we have to color code English or French because we want to make sure we have French content at all times throughout the day, but we also want a site building track. We also want beginner, advanced type of things, so we color code things. And we stopped using it, we came back to it because we found it was useful.
Do you also use Trello for okay, so somebody needs to send out an email blast, if you're assigning it to somebody else, are you putting it in Trello?
One person does coordinate this, and he often gets frustrated that not everybody checks the board. so that's a challenge. But yeah, we do, leading up to the camp, we do either monthly or bi-weekly meetings, and then the month before 4 to 6 weeks before the camp, we start meeting weekly, and then we're constantly reviewing those. So that's kind of our timeline. And yeah, we try to have everything published at least a month out, or at least that speakers know, so that they can get their budget approved by their bosses and their travel booked while it's still cheap. And that's point one thing. And we don't send the rejections until we have an opportunity to collect the people who are going to drop, oh, sorry, a tree hit my house, or whatever, once we find out who those people are, then we can go and pull some people out of the deck that weren't selected, and then we send the rejections after that. So.
Did we officially send rejections this year? I think it was passive, as in we just sent the schedules out.
Nobody sent rejections.
I didn't do it, yeah.
Wait, you said you didn't do that?
No, I didn't do it.
No, because we only got acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only got acceptance, no rejection. Because Kristen pulled with 12 sessions in, and she just got the accepted letter.
So we got a lot of questions as I manage the info. It's was my session accepted? What do you do accepted sessions?
We need to do a little bit
We need to actually send the correction letters, or we need to send the letter that's passed to everybody that submitted sessions. Says session schedule is now posted. If your session's not in there, because a lot of the accepted sessions are oh, we actually published the schedule before we sent the full the schedule email, and so then we had a lot of questions.
That was
right now it's just a timing thing, so
Yeah, another logistical thing about that, the nightmare is with people submitting more than one session for us, one person submitting 8 sessions, when you actually accept one of their sessions, sending an email that specifies which session they were actually chosen for versus sending them an email saying, hey, you got accepted, and then they're like, cool, what session did I get accepted? And here's the session that got accepted. Each time having to take the time to go back and look, I thought it would be more time efficient to write individual emails to each of the accepted session speakers on the very
It has the
first.
input, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Hold on,
say
what were you saying? I'm sorry, you both spoke at the same time?
The BADCamp channel.
Gotcha.
Has a template that you use
Awesome.
to import this.
That'd be so nice.
Right, and
Yeah.
also DrupalCon doesn't, I don't think you guys as session leads sat there and cut and pasted each one.
No,
You
that was
got-
a mail merge.
Yes, it was a mail merge, right? So it's.
No,
think
I
what
cut
happened
and pasted every single one for my DrupalCon
Yeah, I think we
sessions.
just
Right,
need to
awesome.
get you access to
I guess so.
Yep, sounds great.
Yeah.
Technology is also.
Yeah, okay, so Kevin, mid-camp. So we have Kevin here who's doing mid-camp and organizing mid-camp. So he's over here using Trello at Drupal North. Like, what are you guys doing to like wrangle everybody together?
We're using Trello this year. So far so good, but
Is that
pretty inactive board.
Oh.
So we put everything in and now it's sort of dead. But we're also sort of struggling team-wise. We also have, we used to have time on our side, but we're now getting close to 6 months out. So, we go through a different management system every year. We've tried, I think, everything.
Really?
But nothing has worked well, so that's why we keep trying. But, I mean, overall, we use Docs for meeting agendas and notes. And we're just using Trello this year to see how that works. We're using
We
paid
have a
Zoom now for
BADCamp
meetings.
Trello card. We have a BADCamp Trello card. It's really well done.
Well, yeah, I think it's because we don't consolidate. So one thing is actually Civic Actions has been using Trello for its marketing, and I have to say that the person who's in charge is actually really diligent. We were running out of time. Okay, but just really diligent about making sure that every communication lives in a card, so that way, like, and then he just
That's
drives
the
it home.
problem,
He's like,
though. That's the
check
problem.
Trello, check
Yeah.
Trello, check Trello.
I know, but that's the problem. With a volunteer-run organization, forcing someone to go and put it in a system doesn't work.
Right.
Right.
Doesn't
And
work.
especially when you have 6 systems to use.
Yeah.
Right, but
Doesn't work.
if we can maybe like pick one and like all.
So far, Google Docs has
Google Docs has been the most,
And we
is
can
really
then
awesome.
That became
agenda.
like running backlog, honestly. It's
Right,
like-
but
Yeah,
it's been
and we
really
can add people so they get an email so they know they have to do something. So often what would happen, you go to these meetings, they're like, okay, you're in charge of that, you're in charge of that, you're in charge of that. We don't have a project manager, it's pretty much me, and I'm not, then I'm trying the next day to be like, okay, so based on last night's recap, you've got to do that. We literally just go into the Google Doc and like whoever's taking notes goes at John, go and update this, they get an email that they can then respond to when they get to work. And stop,
How
restop.
does we do add? Like, how does that send an email to somebody?
It does. We can use it to their email.
Gets a notification.
Yeah,
You
you
can comment.
If you like highlight something and do a comment, it will ding the person.
If you do like plus at their.
Yeah, you have to actually put their email and send plus.
And that's also
Okay, got it.
super useful
That's a great idea.
at that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, Jen, what happened here? And she wasn't at the meeting. I think it's added, she gets an email, she can reply right then and put
And I
in
s-
like comment, and that means the next week when this person is going to clone it, all those comments disappear, but they can make them meeting agenda items to follow up on. Like,
Yeah,
did we
we-
actually find out how many badges that you got?
And I think that it's really important that the lowest amount of tools and the most common use is going to increase productivity
Yeah.
like tenfold.
Yeah.
So if there were cards, I would say it would come down to maybe like a core few Uber planners of the site and like
Like a team.
talking about the timing of everything I'm watching. That would be the strategic milestones of BADCamp.
So as a
but it's
person who runs like all the details, whether the team logged in
Get
or
'em.
not, we have a BADCamp teamwork.
Yeah.
And
Exactly,
it has
yeah,
milestones and tasks that were associated with it.
Yeah.
It had deadlines and contingencies.
But-
And only I use it, and
Yeah.
I really didn't care if anybody else used it because it helped me. Like every week I had
That's what I was
reminders.
saying, it's like,
and I'm
The people who
So-
are responsible for everything need to use the tools that's going to help them the most. And
Yeah.
but it needs to be set up in a way that no one else on the team needs to use them.
It
because otherwise stuff
But-
won't happen.
It just gets
but
muddled
it's-
up.
Yeah,
If
we can
something
probably talk about
happened
this later.
with Anne, but the tool was there and there was
That's so
enough
funny.
people on the team that could jump in and go, okay, Anne was
in
gonna
my
do it.
inbox.
Yeah.
Exactly, and so we do enough to share across, and be efficient, but not overburden our volunteers.
Yeah.
So we're actually gonna go plan out, like next week, Darlene, she was my administrative assistant that I said, she was like, okay, you're on the hook for this, we're gonna do this. And she'd never been to that camp before, so essentially, there was a lot of challenges, she just didn't know what was going on. So she's literally like, okay, we're gonna like, see lists. And we're gonna make all
let's-
this.
and we should talk about that on our retrospective because we were planners and we ran through that too and you know I want to make sure like with you guys that we can surface some of this because Anne, you do a lot
Yeah.
and you were running a business and this is the biggest risk to BADCamp and your own business and your health and we're worried
How
about
many
you.
times have I asked for help?
And at this
For
point, and
years.
maybe this is a cool
For
way to
years.
start
Yeah,
getting
but as somebody,
For years.
spreading that. Yeah, and we've got Kevin nodding his
Right,
head.
but-
It's an
Oh,
issue
God,
with us
also.
too.
well, but let me tell you,
Yeah,
yeah,
and Ryan does this for
Yeah.
but I do want to talk
Ultimately.
about like why it's difficult for people to help. It's sometimes it's not that we actually, because so if somebody's new and just like I have a lot of like gumption, so I just keep like hitting and being like okay. But some people like because so much institutional knowledge is locked up in the heads of core people, you can assign a task, but there's no context and there's no structure, and it
But
can
Jen
be so
and Kate left
yeah,
completely
absolutely.
this year, and I had no clue how to do volunteers.
Right.
I had no clue how to do credit. Thank God you just took trainings. I had no clue. Like
I went to
had
it
no
last
clue
year.
about everything.
Well, because David Needham
And
left,
it's
so I just picked up training.
And that's
last
the problem
year.
we have is that core people leave and they don't leave documentation. We don't have a central tool. It's
Right.
all living in weird Google Docs where we're like, where's the food spreadsheet?
Right.
The
Right.
food spreadsheet was nested in this weird thing called a production schedule. And it was like nested on something called a shipping sheet. It wasn't even called. So we were like searching for the food spreadsheet. And I'm like, I don't know what it's
There was a food spreadsheet in 2014.
so like when we're talking about stuff, like ultimately I care a lot, and so when I'm like, okay, this is our agenda, we need help. I got to the point where I literally put stuff in bold and highlighted it in like 28 point font. Like, we need help with volunteers. Nobody helping. I don't know what's going on. Can someone call Kate? I don't know. So like, I mean, the risk is shared between all parties, but it's important for like if people actually want to help, then like I reach out to you and you're like, yeah, great, I'm having a baby. And you're like, she's gonna take care of training. And I was like, yes, you're gonna take care of training. This is
Well, because
amazing.
it's like, well, that's our responsibility, and it's like,
Exactly.
okay, well, I have people.
So I have a hard time hearing that like everything's in my head. It's not. It's not in my head. It's all over in different.
No,
people's heads.
and we never shove
Right,
it to
not
your
your head,
head.
but it's in somebody's head that's not. That's
Exactly.
not.
Maybe it's not in their head either.
This year even.
One of the things Kate's spreadsheet didn't know what to work with. So
I had no idea.
one of the things that I think is really cool though is the fact that like we don't know what the hell we're doing.
And it still works.
And we can no, I mean,
Dude,
like,
the
I've
science
been doing
of
this for 20
science,
years,
yeah.
and we don't know what the hell we're doing. And like, I know that's really hard for people coming in because apparently someone's done something before. But
Like no, but it's just like there's a lot of venue specific information that I know that you have that like all of a sudden I was figuring out the night before like oh really, but like it's nowhere listed.
Yeah,
There's no
just like
oh yeah, you can't put signs in like the inside of this building because there's
Oh.
like an issue
Yeah,
with
like,
that.
we had no
and
idea
that's
we
just
could
like
put
that's just a
signs
in.
form, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
We
stuff
make
that needs to
signs
be
that can be
somewhere.
taped.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that we couldn't put signs on the wall.
Right.
So I was in charge of print, but there was nothing in our retrospective because you can't tape signs to the wall.
There is for this year now, but.
But weird little things that
We
get
run into
dropped.
that same
Weird
issue.
little things that get dropped, and it's just like weird little things. And again, it all magically works out,
Right.
and we go, okay, we're going to do this better next year. And I actually went to the nonprofit summit, and the number one question was like, okay, you volunteer-driven organizations, how the heck do you do this? Right? And they were like, really, redundancy and documentation, and that's what we're lacking. Is that magically it all works out, but like, I have no idea how to get people into the room. I have no idea because all in that chain is like contact list,
Right.
you pay cash, like I don't even know how that happens at all.
Realistically,
And
though,
we need to go and say, this is your pinball contact. This is what you do. You get this much cash. You know what I mean?
Well, like,
Where's
insert-
the contact spreadsheet?
Well, and actually, there's things like the dome. We've been having the dome outside like every year, and it's the
That's
same.
somebody's burning me.
It's the same physical term, but no one knows how to set it up because we don't have the documentation or the institution. So we're actually literally like looking at one picture on an iPhone. It's like, I guess that's red or blue and trying
Yeah,
to
totally set up and then put it on YouTube.
Exactly. And these are the things that if we started early to make sure that we had stuff together on time. So great, we did that this year. Next year, hopefully, after 10 BADCamps, that we can actually create some documentation.
We do forget and do things. We forget like what happened a long time ago. Like I don't know what the hell we did originally, but we make the same mistakes. But we also make like new mistakes every time too. So and I think it's kind of healthy to let the camp do what it needs to do in every given year and not necessarily do the same thing. And especially if we have different people on the team. Like Kate made a very crazy detailed or organized spreadsheet for volunteers. That's not going to work for the next person who does volunteers. So I do think there is a little of like, the reason BADCamp works is because the people who do it figure shit out.
Yeah, totally.
And so
Maybe there's a starting place.
And like the training stuff, I do a crazy spreadsheet, but then it breaks
That's
your
not
brain.
how I'm like,
and I
this
was
is
like,
not how I made a new tab. I was like, this information's all the same. I can understand this.
But then when I
Great.
came back in, I used a crazy spreadsheet because I needed all the metadata to make the other decisions that I needed to do with the trainer. So it's the same thing.
To get into a place where we have more redundancy, more documentation. What I would really like to see is I'd like to see, and this is just something that was maybe suggested by the people that were doing these 100% volunteer organizations and running like 200 or 300 volunteers and twice a week events, is that they actually had elected volunteers.
Yes.
That were like, okay, they publicly say, I'm most interested in taking care of which people are the volunteers. And they say, this is why I've got the experience, and they're actually like making a commitment, and they're like, publicly people are saying, yes, I want to nominate that person, I vote for that person. It doesn't it just is like, and it gives more accountability in a public space without like having to create. We've tried roles, we've tried responsibilities, we've tried creating like a roles and responsibilities doc, and then like everybody's signing up for it, and it gets lost in a Google Doc. So if there's like some way for like a public and then they can put on their LinkedIn, like I am the BADCamp volunteer organizer, and they get some nerd cred out there when they're saying I'm involved. Cool. And if there's some way to create some like
Maybe we should do that on our website and do that more
We
public.
have a BADCamp.org that was created specifically for this purpose 3 years ago, where we're like, we need to post documentation from every event in a public place. Number one, so any other camp can see how we do it. Number two, so we can figure out next year what we need to do again. The problem is that people commit so much time to doing BADCamp, it's hard to get them to commit more time to writing what they did down. So it might be good, especially if we have ones in series of 11, to take some of that time in the beginning of the year and say, write it down.
Yeah.
Well, in part,
Because we feel the pain now and we forget it later, so
Yeah.
let's just get it out when it hurts.
Early, when they're
Yeah.
Yeah, like we 100% are celebrating someone to theme the website next year. Last call meeting.
It's
was hundreds of hours.
it's now 12:18, so we're 18 minutes over.
Oh, that's, yeah, pretty done.
Yeah.
no one's taking us out.
But is there anything
But it's lunch, everybody likes to do.
Can I drop 3 last points that I
Yes,
heard from
please.
people on the streets? I might not make it to the retro because I haven't been participating. Sprint lounge chairs, something that like sprinters mentioned, and I didn't even go to the sprint lounge this time, so just putting that out there. The foldable chairs thing is sort of tepid interest. Yeah.
They don't want to sit there.
For myself, I ran into like, okay, this place is here, ASOC, what is that? And then I had to go like, where are the things?
So more maps.
And I didn't know
Better
what
map.
like the acronym meant, and I knew the other description of the building, but I didn't know that. And then on my way here to this room, I was like, okay, like click to maps, and it's like a Google map with a whole bunch of things. I'm like, I just want this thing to be a link that's like, go here.
So better individual room documentation.
So by the way, we actually have to draw it all because there is no publicly available maps of insides of buildings due to security issues. So Berkeley won't release any maps of internal buildings. So we actually have to draw these.
Or type it out.
And we can't put on any signage in any of the halls.
I clicked the JPEG though, the like offline
Yeah.
like thing, and then I was like, okay, we're going there, and that was that.
This
So
has been such a huge pain point. Like we tried Google Maps, we tried print maps, we tried the things. So we tried to like get an individual inside room list, and it was just like we had to draw it.
Yeah. Well, we
Something
did.
that would have been helpful
Yeah.
is just even, Bayview, Eshelman, Hall, different floor.
Yeah.
Adding the floor.
Yeah.
We tacked that on as a little piece of text on the printed map, but I don't.
Yeah,
think
but
it's on
on the
Yeah, I
site.
didn't know it was at like 50. Yeah. I guess there's just more room information.
More
Just-
room, yeah.
Yeah.
At the 11th hour, John, we always have these custom signs for the building, and at the 11th hour, they're like, waterway parental warning sign. And I was like, wow, that's so fun. It's right on it.
And right on it.
From my perspective, if I'd known that, I could have designed, not that it was that hard, but I was like, could have made it prettier.
Well, you know what? We have the assets.
I'm not complaining,
and-
but I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, one sign.
What's number
We
3?
made arrows that we could just move around.
Yes.
We didn't know.
Was that number 3?
Oh, Melina, go.
So, I don't know how like embedded your contact with the university is. I ran into some similar issue with like maps being like security issues and stuff. What I did was they granted me access to the maps, and then I basically drew like traced them and like made them like cartoon like colors like that were like color coded and did not have any security like network clauses and all those things that they were worried about. And I submitted it and said, is this okay for us to use and publish? And they were like, okay. So this was like,
I'll ask Gabby. Gabby was like, sorry, we don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
But even if we have, like, it would be helpful.
It was useful
to
for
be like,
tracing.
go to fifth tour, you know, because I didn't even know this was on the fifth tour. Whatever, and I'm on the planning.
yeah, because I without like right label. Yeah, nobody reads them, I guess. So we do
No, but we need to
Well, I
do
was
it
gonna
on
say,
the
what was I
website.
But I'm looking at the site, yeah. I look at the site. like-
Website, emails, that's just like, let's get it as like the baseline, let's just wait for it.
Yeah, well, next year's
So the
website.
last of the 3 was
Oh, God.
New Jersey does this really awesome thing where they like edit the front page variable and they set it to be today's sessions.
Yes.
So each day you hit the home page, it's like that's what you're
Oh,
looking
actually,
for.
that
That's
everybody,
what you're looking for.
everybody is so frustrated about the sorting of order on the views, and I was just gonna bring it up in our retrospective, but
Oh, which views?
all of them. The training views, the session views.
Oh yeah, the training view is totally broken.
Oh God, no, it was so destructive, and I'm like, oh, I just don't have time to fix it, but I'm like, whatever. Like,
People got to the trainings, yeah.
but not really, like, some of them had a rough time, and it's, that we're website professionals that know how to do this software. If we can't effing have a good view, that's a basic view sorted by whatever, and it's not working, then I know it's all volunteer, but it's just,
No,
I
it's-
felt bad. I felt personally bad because I'm responsible for it, like shit.
It's
On that
not a
last
unique
note.
problem though, because we have the same issues. Like we build websites for a living and we can't build our own.
well, so you don't really have a client for this. I mean, you don't have a paying client.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you do it because you do it for a living. Like it's like even harder, I think, because you're like tired.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it for a living and then do it at home. in
Right.
your
Or do
time.
gardening for,
Yeah, exactly.
It was all very good overall, and we all had fun. So thank you.
Yes,
and
thanks.
it's inspired me. This last point that I just made, I'm like, I was gonna step back from my own camp organization, and I'm like, I think I want to make a really killer website that kind of like takes some of the feedback to my own community. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Next year it's
I
going
am
to be
gonna
a
step
T8
back
site.
right for my camp, but.